What's good, chat? Welcome back to another video with your boy, Young Homie TC. How's everybody doing on this beautiful day? Today we're reacting to a video titled, Japan Can't Make Anime Like This Anymore. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Japan literally cannot make anymore. Not won't, can't. And these types of anime will never be made ever again. The ominous ambiance, the ethereal...
Bro, the art is just breathtaking, chat. I had to pause the video. We ain't even tapped into the video yet for real, bro. But just seeing that little edit he had in the beginning, bro, chef's kiss.
Scenery, the beautiful, grotesque violence is something that Japan cannot produce in the same capacity. These shows were born in a window of time when studios had too much freedom, too little oversight, and just enough madness. And then one day, they disappeared. So there's just one thing I gotta know. What the hell happened to them?
What did
killed
happen?
This breed of anime?
I think he's gonna mention Monster because the vibe I'm getting already is what Samurai Champloo, Monster. I'm trying to think, bro.
What changed so drastic?
There's another one about this. It's kind of like, imagine Blue Beetle, right? But like your suit. Y'all know what I'm talking about. There's one that's kind of like Blue Beetle where they have like living suits, bro. Like living power suits, bro.
That something this bold, this strange, this specific just stopped being made? Why do they feel like relics from another dimension? First, we need to figure out what these shows even were. And by the end of this, not only will you know exactly what kind of anime I'm talking about, you'll have a list of the most must-watch shows from this generation. And you'll understand why we'll never get anything like them ever again. In 1983, a Japanese dude released a series that would spark a shift in anime so great, it shaped the next 2 decades. The series was called Dallos. It was totally unremarkable in terms of its story by modern standards, only remarkable in the way that it was released. Dallos was never shown on TV. Instead, it was immediately sent to video stores as a VHS tape, marking it as the first ever OVA. Original Video Animation.
Over.
This is Angel's Egg.
I used to call them overs.
After Dallos shocked all of Japan in 1983, studios quickly followed.
But these are
So it was only 2 years
bro.
later until we got this masterpiece. Set in a desolate primordial world where only a single girl wanders. All she wants is to protect this egg. She thinks it'll hatch into an angel, and maybe that'll fix the emptiness around her. But what happens when someone tries to break that egg? What happens when that egg breaks? What's so gripping from Angel's Egg is its atmosphere. It's how a story with almost no dialogue, only 2 characters in an ocean of silence, can be so distinct. The setting, the ominous music, mixed with how the movie lingers on stills, builds an encompassing eerie tension that made me stew in my own thoughts until I couldn't help but be flooded with questions. It's spectacular, one of the most evocative anime I've ever seen. Something like this is only possible because it's an OVA. Now imagine for a second you tried pitching something like this to a modern production committee and they'd look at you like you were insane.
Bro, it's because people's attention spans these days are not, they're not built for this, bro. They're not built for this. You had to tell a kid to watch, you had to tell a current kid whose favorite anime of all time is JJK to watch an anime like this. Bro, he gonna be tweaking, bro. He gonna be like, bro, there's no fights. There's no fights. Nobody's getting their ass beat. That's how they're gonna be, bro. That's low attention spans, bro. But now you give somebody who's watched shows like Attack on Titan, Code Geass, etc. that same opportunity, bro. They're gonna be more open to watching something like this, and they're gonna be like, okay, where? Because for them, it's not necessarily just about, you know, hands and cool animation. It's more so about story, cinematics, story and cinematics.
But that's the thing. OVAs weren't built for mass appeal. They weren't meant to fill airtime or rake in box office numbers before anyone ever saw a single frame. No TV broadcasts, No theatrical runs, just straight to VHS. And that gave creators a rare kind of freedom to make something stranger, slower, more specific, designed for a niche audience. With no time slots to fill, no censors to please, no runtime restrictions to worry about, it was just a director's unfiltered vision. This allowed them to create such distinct works that are missing in modern anime. Which leads me to the next OVA that you might have missed, and I don't say this lightly. It might be the weirdest, most visually unhinged thing I've ever seen. Meet Cat Soup, an experimental short film released in 2001. It follows the story of these two cats in particular, where this one tragically passes away. And while her soul is leaving her body, her sibling does everything he can to stop it, resulting in her soul splitting in two, which leaves his sister as a husk of her former self.
Damn.
So he goes on an adventure through the land of the dead to try to bring her back to how she once was. It sounds dramatic to say, but this might genuinely be one of the weirdest, most original things I've ever.
Why does this make me think Over the Garden Wall got inspiration from this? If you're not hip to what Over the Garden Wall is, Chad, do your homework on that. Let me try to show you what Over the Garden Wall is. I'm trying to say, bro. When I seen it for the first time, I was like, damn, this is genuinely fire, bro. And I seen it a long time ago, bro. Seen it a long time ago. And even back then, I knew that this was he. But yeah, Chad, this is Over the Garden Wall. It's Over the Garden Wall. I feel like these types of anime kind of gave inspiration to shit like this, bro. Like these dark type anime where they're going on journeys and shit. It was only 5. I think so. Yeah, it wasn't a lot, bro. But it was mad captivating because the shit was like low key creepy and interesting at the same time, bro. Like it just had you like, yo, are these little niggas gonna make it? Like, what's going on?
Watched, experiencing a surreal, dialogue-free film centered around these two characters that's filled with existential
Nah, facts, bro. Facts.
imagery of a world collapsing in on itself is not something I could have ever expected. I mean that in the best way possible. The series is a perfect example of how wildly experimental an OVA can be. It has an awkward runtime of 35 minutes, it has no dialogue, and it has these stupid looking cats as the main characters. It's the kind of thing that would never get greenlit today. Back then, you would get this type of joke.
You son of a...
Maybe something along the lines of this. That's a night and day difference, and I'm not saying one's better than the other, but they do come from completely different places. It's not just about laughs, it's about what we expect from a comedy and what we're willing to laugh at. See, in the 80s and 90s, OVAs were being sold directly to fans. You had to buy the damn thing if you wanted to watch it, which means the only people watching these shows were the hardcore fucking gooners who could only think about anime titties and spending money on that shit. So, of course, studios weren't trying to hit mass appeal. The masses literally couldn't watch these things. Instead, what rose to the top were the weird, the provocative, the unforgettable. And that's why you get jokes like this.
My queen! Oh, you're so naughty!
That's comedy gold to them. Today with anime on
Yeah,
every
this
streaming
nigga was
platform,
tripping,
creators
bro.
are thinking
This
broader.
nigga was
Anyone
tripping,
can
bro.
watch anything, anytime, anywhere. So creators aim for a wide appeal. And because OVAs were targeted at very specific demographics, you don't see a lot of tropes you're used to in modern anime. No high school settings, no power of friendship speeches. Instead, you get stuff that's cut from a more unique cloth. And well, because of who these shows were made for,
Some of them be gory, some of them be weird. Like, I have not dived into the weird ones, but the ones I've seen, or stuff like Samurai Champloo, the one about the one like Blue Beetle.
now there's one more type of OVA
What
that
the
we
hell?
need to talk about. I'm talking about OVAs born from early hype. When a manga was so gassed out of the gate, studios couldn't wait. They
Okay.
just had to cash in, even if it meant rushing out tiny, half-baked adaptations way before the story was ready. Like Gunsmith Cats. It follows Rally and Minnie, two girls who run a gun shop by day and are bounty hunters by night. But here's the thing, the OVA isn't even a straight adaptation of the manga. It's an original side story. However, it's still pretty damn good. It's cute, it's fun, it's got some absolutely fire animation, and the opening looked so damn good. But when you watch it, you can feel that
So
it's
today is the day I actually found out what OVA, because I've been calling them OVAs my whole life, bro. So today's the day I finally found out what OVAs mean, bro. Interesting now. Now I genuinely get it, bro. Cause I'm like, bro, why they keep making overs after every season of One Punch Man? I finally get it, Chad. I finally get it.
just a glimpse of what the full story could have been if it ever got a proper adaptation. Then there's also Yokohama Shopping Log, a quiet, reflective series set after humanity's decline in a post-cataclysmic world. It just follows a robot girl, living peacefully among the remnants of a fading world. It's cozy. It's slow. It's the anime equivalent of sitting on a porch with a cup of tea and watching the sunset. And it's so good precisely because it doesn't try to overdo it. There are tons of OVAs like these, early adaptations where studios bet big on a manga's potential, sometimes way too early. But that's the part of what makes them so special. Today, if a manga popped off like this, you'd expect a 13 to 25 episode full season, but back then, you might get 2 episodes in a VHS release. It would be like if someone adapted Chainsaw Man into an 8-episode OVA in 2019. Sure, this was gonna get an anime, but if you jump the gun that early, it's just too soon. That's why these early OVAs feel kinda like time capsules. They're not full adaptations. They're whispers of what could have been, snapshots of potential before the stories even fully bloomed. And if you're a fan of the original manga, these OVAs feel like little treasures. Japan's economy collapsed in the 90s, the Wild West days dried up. Budget shrank, and risk tolerance disappeared. In 1994, there were 70 different OVAs. In 2024, just 5. That era is gone, and with it, a kind of anime that felt experimental, raw, and unforgettable. Sure, sparks of that energy still show up in shows like Devilman Crybaby or Cyberpunk Edgerunners, but they're rare. And maybe that's why these shows feel so special, not because they're perfect, but because they couldn't be made today. They were snapshots, strange, messy, and beautiful proof that anime once played by different rules. And now, they're waiting for someone curious enough to find them, dust them off, and remember what anime used to be capable of.
You heard the man, bro. Thanks for watching. Peace out for zapping that. As always, keep God in your life, little Negronis.